Hello, English 142. This is for anyone who missed in class week 9 or just wants to review what we went over and what you should be working on now. So with writing project 2 in the rearview mirror, and you should be able to find all your comments and your grade on that. We are off to writing project 3, and this gets us to our topic that you're going to be spending the rest of the semester on. So your food-related topic that in week 8 we worked on turning into a question. And we talked about it has to be a question one that you really want to know the answer for. That's going to make the reading and the writing and everything a lot easier in the next several weeks. So a topic that you really want to know the answer for. And then this is about doing the reading and the research to be able to answer the question. And when you can do that, then you're prepared to start a research paper with a thesis statement that answers your question. And that'll be, of course, the very end of the week. So several places here, you'll see this link that takes you right to the actual assignment. It's an annotated bibliography. Here it is again. And this is less than 5 minutes. This watch how to write an annotated bibliography. It might be a good place to start to brush up on what this kind of document is. It has 2 parts, citations and annotations, and it's important to know the difference because we'll be using that language a lot. Citation is exactly the same as what it would be on a reference page, but the annotation is a paragraph in the range of 150 to 250 words, a paragraph summarizing and a little bit evaluating what that source does. So the idea is somebody can read that paragraph and see if it would be useful for them and their research. Here, and I'll take a second to open this one, you will need throughout this, every time you find a good source, you will need to use this reference for how to cite an article from a database, because probably nobody knows that by heart at this point. You won't know it by heart, in December either. So you need to know where your resource is, where you can look, see an exact template and follow it. And that's right here. I want to open this sample annotated bibliography though to show you what you're shooting for, what the overall document will look like. We'll see how much the screen captures here. It's as good as it's going to get, yeah. So your title is centered, annotated bibliography. Up here, what you can't quite see is the working thesis, what the person thinks their thesis might be after having read all these articles. But annotated bibliography, it's page 2 because obviously page 1 would be the cover page. Here's the citation. Note the left flush first line and the others indented. Everything's double-spaced. When you finish the citation, you move into, here's the annotation. So talking about the article, this article does what? Overviews health, environmental, and socioeconomic downfalls of GM foods, genetically modified. So it talks, more about what the article does specifically. And at the very last line, it says, this article will contribute to my paper by highlighting several factors that are unknown about GMs, making their safety questionable. The first person there is acceptable only in this kind of line at the end where you're thinking, how am I going to use this source for this research paper? You still wouldn't have to do it. You could just say this article could contribute to a paper or research by highlighting, but it's not the end of the world if you do it just in this context. And remember, some professors will never, ever want to see that first person. So training yourself out of it's always a good idea. But then you just put the next source that comes alphabetically and do your citation, move into your annotation. So what does this article do? This article talks about what genetically modified foods are and how they are made. Same thing, move on to the next source and the next annotation. So your assignment tells you have to have 5. They have to be scholarly articles from the TU library databases. So we're going to review how to find that right now. But just remember that all of this is here in the week when you started the project, description of the assignment, a little short video, how to cite from a database, and then a sample of what the whole thing looks like. Pretty useful, I think, going forward. So I used in class, and I'll use here with you, the sample question. Here's the library link. If I had the question, and the wording of your question is important to helping you get the right words to use here. And all of this week's work is about this database, Dragon Quest, so pay attention. If I had the question, why are organic foods more expensive, and are the health benefits worth the cost? So are there health benefits? Are they worth the higher cost for organic foods? If that's my research question, then I want to get in here, and I like to use advanced search. Log in. I like to use advanced because it lets me use more words. And you have to remember that these library databases, they don't work like Google. You can't put a whole question in there. You have to really get the right words. And it's why, taking the time to have a consultation with a librarian and such is really worth it, because that they're really good at knowing the words. So I'm going to use, and I'm right above where you can see, but I'm going to use organic food, and I'm going to put it in quotation marks because I want it to keep both words together, not just to look at anytime food comes up, but organic food. And so this adds another term to it. Same thing, I'm going to hold this phrase together with quotation marks. And these are called Boolean operators. You can do and or not, but this is going to only search for things that talk about organic foods and health benefits in the same article. So let's see how many we get. 2,384. That's going to be a little hard to deal with. I have two things that are important to me to limit. Here's the limiters over here. You'll be using these in your hybrid activities, so listen up. I like to limit to full text because I want to know that I'm going to be able to find and read it without having to send off for it. And if you're working far enough ahead of time on your due dates, you can do that, but a lot of times we're not. So I like to just go ahead and limit to full text. And then for this assignment, because it said they had to be scholarly articles from the database, I'm going to go ahead and click scholarly. And you'll notice that we went from that 2,800 to 400, much more reasonable here. So you just start looking through your titles for what seems on point for you that way. Are there no health benefits? This is talking about limitations in evidential basis of health benefits. Maybe I want to look more. So click on the title. Don't open the document up yet, unless you have a couple hours to sit and read a scholarly article. Just click on the title. Take a look at what it says. Oh, there's an abstract. That's always good, because with an abstract you can see if this is going to be information that you think will be useful in your paper. And what else is important here is everything you need for that citation: the title of the article, all the authors, the source. Here's the journal, Mechanistic Toxicology. Sounds like a great journal. The date, the page range, it's all there. If you scroll down, if it has a DOI, there it is. It'll be listed. So that's literally every piece of info you need for your citation. So that makes this page really important. Then you decide it's the one you want, then you go ahead and look for how to open it. And here you have to go through Ohio link. So that's a quick Dragon Quest overview. Your hybrid activity is going to have you doing a fake search and using some of these limiters, and then tracking how your numbers change and what you find and all. So remember, this is where you can find that info. So with that in mind, here we are back in week 9, right? Yep. And we can pop down to your hybrid activity. It's Dragon Quest practice, and it's telling you to use this worksheet to find the answers in Dragon Quest and then submit it here. See, we have one person who's done that already. Good. Yeah, so you practice using Dragon Quest some in class, but if this activity gives you a little more time to practice it. So use that worksheet that's right below there and upload it here with your answers. And of course, obviously, once you're in Dragon Quest, you're probably going to want to be playing around with your own research question and seeing what words will get you some sources, because you have 2 weeks to do this, and it sounds like a long time, but you have to find 5 scholarly articles, you have to read, and they're not short, easy to read, as you know, and then you have to figure out what's the citation and what's the annotation. So split that up, and it won't be a nightmare. Wait till the last weekend, and that's going to be a pretty intense week. All right. Well, I hope that answers your questions about week 9. If not, feel free to be in touch, and I look forward to seeing you in person next week.